Good morning. It's Tuesday, March 10th. It's just past 10 o'clock, and we are gathered here at an open door to sit together in contemplation of lesson 93 in A Course in Miracles, which is light and joy and peace abide in me. So take your seat and get comfortable. I ask how everyone is this morning because I think before we begin this lesson, it would be good to just check in with where you are rather than just delving right into accepting that light and joy and peace abide in me. And ask yourself if in this moment they do. Where are you in this moment? And there's no right answer here. The only right answer is to be in touch with where you truly are. This lesson begins with, at least in the Course in Miracles book, begins with a really stark description of where most of us are. It says, you think you are the home of evil. That's a really strong statement. You think you are the home of evil. Wow. Wow. You think you are the home of darkness and sin. And it doesn't define sin as the belief in separation here. It really asks you, because this is just one of the first lessons, it really asks you nothing except to believe in what you think as the egoic mind sin is, which is evil and darkness. And this goes on. It says, you think if anyone could see the truth about you, they would be repelled. They would recoil. They would see you as a poisonous snake. You think if what is true about you were revealed to you, you would be struck with horror so intense that you would rush to death by your own hand. Living on after seeing this would be impossible. When I first read this lesson over 20 years ago, I wrote in the margin, true. I wrote true because I was so ready to really bring everything to the light. And I had to admit that there were parts of myself, and as Richard tells us, David Hawkins rates shame as barely even alive on the list of vibrations. There's so much hidden shame accumulated in the mental body that just did not want to be brought to the light. So this lesson, light and joy and peace abide in me, begins by essentially ripping light and joy and peace out of your hands. Even if you started this lesson with a happy heart, when you read the first paragraph of this lesson, you would have to be brought to terms with what you might be hiding in yourself. And then it tells us that these thoughts are not according to God's will. So it tears you apart and then it builds you up again. Every thought, negative thought that you have had about yourself is untrue. So what I'd like to do today is take us into a meditation, as we usually do, but I want to suggest that we go a little deeper as usual. When I say light and joy and peace abide in me, that's well and good, but too often it's a temporary thing, right? It's temporary. When I feel good, I can accept that light and joy and peace abide in me. But when I don't feel good, it's hard to touch those things. So when I say light and joy and peace abide in me, we have to ask who the me is that light and joy and peace abide in. Because it is not the egoic self that they abide in, and you will never find them there. So as we sit in meditation today, step back and step back and step back until you rest in the self-awareness that you are. Light and joy and peace are temporary until we know the one true self. We rest in the altar of the true self that is always the same. And this is what we call the witness or consciousness or awareness. And the egoic mind, which changes all the time, is drawn to these strong emotions that we might call sin or darkness, because they're so exciting, even as they make us feel terrible. They're exciting. And the true self that is calm and peaceful is boring to the ego. It feels like nothing is happening there. But as we sit in this meditation, reach for that peace and then see what arises as we sit from the altar, the seat of the altar, where there is nothing but peace and where it is always the same knowing. And just see what happens. So let's close our eyes and sit. I'm going to turn my screen off here. You can keep yours on or off as you wish. And rest in your seat. Wherever you are is perfect. It is what it is. Light and joy and peace abide in me. Light and joy and peace abide in me. The first few lessons of this course required us to question our perception of reality. Nothing I see means anything, we heard. And I am upset because I see a meaningless world. The first few lessons of the Course tore down our false defenses, or the ego's false defenses. And the lessons now are about building on the truth of who we really are. You are seeing your true self from the upper room. From your I am one with that which is my divine source. I abide as the one, unchanging, unlimited witness, awareness, in which all things arise in my spaceless, unlimited, timeless being. This is your true self in the upper room. A major goal of A Course in Miracles is freedom. When I listen to this lesson, peace and joy and light abide in me. There will be no freedom if I believe that this lesson is meant for the egoic self. The freedom lies in surrendering. The egoic self will grasp for light and grasp for freedom it can never have. It is only in giving up all attempts to grasp or claim or do by myself that light and joy and peace arise in me naturally, on its own, without any assistance, because that is the nature of my true self. It is not God's will that we live in fear. Therefore, fear must be unreal. This is a profound and logical truth. Fear is an idea that lives in a mind that has accepted the idea of separation. But we don't have to accept this lesson without experiencing it. If we accept the lesson without experiencing it, it will be a temporary learning. So relax your body a little bit more now. Let everything go on the out-breath. And simply deepen your experience of quietness. Deepen your noticing of quietness. No matter what is going on around you, no matter what thoughts are arising or feelings in the body, notice that they are arising in the silence that you are. And now breathe more gently. And notice. You are the light of awareness, self-illuminating. Notice how it feels to recognize the truth of this. You are innocence. I am innocence. If you notice a spark of happiness, that is because you are the happiness recognizing itself. Light and joy and peace abide in me. I am the home of light and joy and peace. I am that in which light and joy and peace arise, and I am aware of their presence in my being. I am that. Don't struggle to stay in the light. Don't worry if a thought of discomfort arises. The light of awareness is what recognizes whatever arises, no matter what it is. And you are that light of awareness. And nothing can ever take that from you. Because you are God's will. And you are free to know that this is true. Light and joy and peace. Abide in me. I did not create the light. I am not responsible for the joy or the peace. They are my natural state. I need do nothing to create or sustain any of it. Your sinlessness, your oneness is guaranteed by Source. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted as true. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Nothing can touch it or change what God has created as eternal. The little self you think you made, evil and full of sin, is meaningless. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God, and light and joy and peace abide in you. When you're ready, just breathe yourself back slowly and gently into the body. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your hands in your lap. And just come on back. What a great reminder. What a great reminder. You know, I do remember reading this lesson and not really knowing what I am. I didn't know. And I was certainly willing, but I read this and I just thought, not in this world. And I'm so grateful I know now. Rupert Spira says that the knowing of the true self, the consciousness, the awareness that we are in truth, is the greatest achievement you can make, or the greatest recognition, the greatest freedom you can make in your entire life. We've been reading and hearing a lot about the upper room, and this is the upper room. This is the vibration of the upper room, this lesson. And who are we not to accept it as true? Right? Who would say, no, that is not true for me? So I'll open it up now. And I've said enough. No one has to say anything. We can just sit in this if we want to. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, all. How is Cindy this morning?
I'm certain she's fine. I'm trying to find the words. There's a sense that whatever I say, it's not going to be quite right. Love and joy and peace abide in me, and I know that that is true. And I'm trying to remember who I was talking to. Um, all these dark places have been coming up, showing up. Man, I often wake up now in the morning feeling like I've been beat up, with whatever's going on in my sleep, or I'll be walking around feeling at peace and something really dark just colors the screen of awareness, right? And what I've been getting really quiet and still with, being really careful with, is accepting that, how do I put this? To find ways to allow that to arise, to fully experience and be willing to express it all without taking away from the understanding that love and joy and peace is the foundation. Like these experiences that if I were believing they were mine, or that I was at all guilty or wrong for them to come up, like over and over and over again. And I'm being real careful again because something new is happening with this awareness. It's not old, but to allow all of these experiences to be expressed, to identify that they're happening in and through and with me, and not to feel inadequate or wrong, or oh my God, I'm not there yet because they're happening, has become extraordinarily important.
Mhm.
And perhaps the understanding that there is only one mind, and therefore these experiences are part of what are coming up in the collective, to be, again, I'm going to use the words from the guides, right? Perhaps these experiences are coming up because what was hidden needs to be seen in order for it to be claimed in the upper room, is part of this process. But I am willing to say out loud that I confess these pockets of time where they certainly feel like me. And they feel like I'm small, and they feel like I've fucked it up. Maybe next time, you know? Um, and so to understand that a lot of the reading in Divine Union, and even I believe the reading in the course that we did yesterday and stuff, talks about eternal. A lot of it has been lighting up for me that the only time that exists is now, and everything is happening now, and all the different lifetimes are now. And so all this sense of being less than, of justifying the fear, of feeling that I need to defend myself so I don't fall apart, or climbing out of a dark hole, all these different things, they're not, I'm obviously not lost in them because I could feel the peace. Um, and it's almost the opposite. It's almost like the easier and the more I'm able to hold a peaceful ground, the foundation, the more I give permission for the cancer or the virus or the poison to express itself. So it's getting darker in spots. It's getting creepier in spots. Um, and at times exhausting. And yet I know that my foundation and the ground of my being is everything that this lesson points to. So perhaps what I'm saying is even when the guilt feelings come up or the shame feelings come up, it's part of it. And it's not who any of us are. So I'm not arguing against this lesson. I'm just expressing that the recognition, the deep, you talked about going deeper, the deepest part of my understanding is that the collective is going through a tremendous transformation. And so it's like I'm not just cleaning out my closets, I'm cleaning out the corners of the sub basement at the moment. And that's good, even when it feels awful. So
Wow. I'm just blown away. What comes for me is so much love for what you just said, Cindy. Your willingness to, as a spirit, to go simultaneously, to be so intelligent and so articulate and so willing to share what you're going through and to go through crap and then share with us how you are navigating it is such a spiritual service. Rather than pretend, and that's this what I did not want to do this morning. I did not want to hear people tell me how light and joy and peaceful they are this morning. And that's great if you are. No problem with that. That's phenomenal. We need to hear that. But we also need to hear the struggles that people are going through and how they don't feel as though that's where they are. But to recognize also, because you've done enough of the work, which all of us here have done, to note that it is the discomfort that's temporary and the truth of the light and joy and peace abiding as the witnessing awareness, as the true self, which is eternal and always and timeless, is what recognizes and holds the discomfort. So I thank you for that.
thank you. I'm inspired to put a specific example on it. It's going to help me. I was in conversation this morning, and I was talking to someone I care about someone we both care about who's going through hell. And I was listening to the person I was talking to continually point out how this other person should be doing things differently and how she has to take different things. And I got off the phone and I'm sitting in this understanding that there's only one mind. And this is where it gets really uncomfortable, right? There's only one mind. And if I am judging any of these players as outside of me, then I'm projecting guilt and shame and fear where I can't do anything about it, right? So I sat and I am still sitting with this understanding that there's only one mind, there's only one heart, and therefore the person I was speaking to, who I felt was quite judgmental, is me and is in the one mind, and this idea that she can't possibly know how this other person is feeling. Well, I don't know how any, like it's only one mind. Like I kept saying, where can I hold responsibility? And then this person who everywhere I look in this story is going through some version of hell, and how almost impossible it feels from a separate self to not project that hell outside of me. Like how do I hold, and this is without using the thinking mind, this understanding that the story isn't it, but the story of this hell and all the different places is a belief in suffering, right? And it's a belief that there are these individual human beings who everywhere they look, horrible things are happening and they're not handling, I'm seeing one mind, handling it by insisting that if she only did things differently, her life would improve, and you got to take response. And then I see this other person where it looks like she can't even breathe. It's the life is hitting her so intensely, and I am sitting here understanding that all of these things are coming into my awareness. Why? And this is where it gets really, where I have to be very careful. Um, and I'm noticing I don't want to feel their suffering like it's real. And we're 8 billion people and we were all born to suffer and die. I, I am willing to hold this understanding that all of it is a projection of the belief that we're something other than love and peace and joy and the light of God. And so the experience is real, but not the original thought. And so I don't have an answer. So I've been sitting in this not wanting to project it out and not wanting to believe it kind of feeling like what is true here, and remembering that the tone does the work, and let's light all the corners. I don't know, but that's literally like it's so much more confusing than it would be if I allowed the mind to just project it out and say, this is not my story. I don't have to think about it. But it came to me and it hit my heart and I'm feeling it deeply. And I still can't in the world do anything about any of it. But in my heart and mind and space, there's something in me that doesn't want to project it out into a world that's not mine to fix. I don't, again, the words don't seem to be quite covering it, but it's part of what all of this, part of what my current moment is. Um, so anyway, that's taking it even more deeper, and maybe I'll go into more depth in the 12-stepping meeting when I name names or whatever, but um it's crazy, to own the fact that we're all kind of responsible for the parts of the world we see. Can I stop projecting out and at the same time not create an internal hell? I'm going to mute now.
Good morning, Richard.
Morning, everyone. What came to mind for me with a lesson you read to us was initially when I read it, I believed I was still identifying as a separate self. I thought the Course was talking to the separate self, and I realized that I and many of my people I've known put on their better face because if somebody really knew what we thought, or what I thought, or what I believed to be, or how I wanted to harm others because I didn't like them, or um, they would not love me. So that's what I thought the lesson was about. And when the first a couple of paragraphs, when I realized that, yeah, who would love me if they really knew what I was thinking, what I felt about them? So I said, if I'm doing that, everyone must be doing it. And that's what life is about. You hide the negative aspect of the self and you project the loving or kind or compassionate part of yourself, even though you may be lying to yourself when you do it. And
Yep.
and then over the years, my understanding of the lesson evolved. And I realized that the Course is really talking to the one child of God who believed that he's separated from Source. And that what the lesson really was referring to was the original sin some of us were taught in catechism classes when we were children. The original sin was the belief that we are separated from our Source. And that was the original sin. And that created all the guilt and all the fear that God will find us and punish us. And that's what we projected out of the mind as the one innocent child of God. And that became the world we are all experiencing. That is what the world is, the projected thought of sin, guilt, and fear. And now, having conditioned my mind over a number of years to believe that it was true, now I'm trying to reverse that belief and concept in my mind as a separate self in order to be able to be the light, not only experience the light or experience the love, but be the love and the light as I walk through this dream as a separate self. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. I no longer negate the separate self. The separate self is the reason I'm experiencing being the separate self is because I chose to do that. I chose to be here. And why did I choose to be here? Why am I here? I didn't have to come into this dream. I didn't have to be a physical being in this dream dealing with all the shit that I'm dealing with. Why am I here? And I'm taking responsibility for that decision to be here, and realizing I'm an innocent child of God. I am the light of the world in truth. Why the hell would I claim what I choose to be here and put up with all this crap I'm putting up with over time? And I've come to believe that I'm really blessed because having this experience as a human being and all the crap that we all go through is really wonderful because I'm such a better soul than I was before I started this path. I'm more compassionate. I'm more loving. I'm more accepting. I'm more less judgmental. And I'm happier because I'm better. I'm not a finished product, obviously. I'm still here. I'm still learning lessons. And I love the lessons that I learn. And I love sharing them with people like you because we're all one. We're all the divine, manifesting as separate selves. And we're all trying to figure out what the hell is this all about? Why am I here? And why am I not happy? Why am I not happy, joyous, and free? And that's because we all know we identify as the separate self, the egoic self. And now I see myself as a lucid dreamer, where I know what I am in truth, but my experience is that of a separate self. What is that all about? Why am I having this experience? So I'm trying to still figure it out. I'm happier and more peaceful every day, and that's okay with me. I'm going to have my crappy periods. I'm going to have my laughs at myself because I jumped back into the separate self. Woe is me, all that crap. So I love us all. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Richard. You know, why are we here? I guess I would say, why not? You know, why not be here? What an experience, as you said. I mean, holy moly, what a school we have come to. Why not?
One of the things that really helped me was that most of us have seen that NDE video with Natalie Sudman, where she talked about her near-death experience, where she was looking at thousands of spirits that were telling her to come back into the dream and the physical part of the dream because they were learning so much through her. So I like to think that all of us are chose to come here, not only to improve our manifestation of the divine, but also to help those that don't want to come here because it's so difficult. And what a blessing we all are to them who are deciding not to come and do the suffering we're suffering and do the work we're doing individually. And we're helping not only ourselves, but the entire sonship by giving them the experience without them actually having to do with the work. So that's why I love us all, because we all took on this burden, I believe, and we're doing it, and we're doing it as joyfully as we can.
That's a great reminder. Thank you for that Natalie story. And that's kind of what I was trying to express to Cindy when she was explaining the thought process that she was going through. Her willingness to share with us what her thought process was, even in the dream. So, Richard, thank you for that.
Definitely. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. And John, I want to ask you, you said comfort in ambiguity. What did you mean by that?
Hi, everybody. Question mark. Can I find comfort in ambiguity? I forgot to put the question mark in.
Aha.
Silly
Yeah.
me, but I'm great. I love to hear the stories too. Can I find it comfort in ambiguity?
Are you referring to,
Cindy's story.
do you understand what John's point is, or should he say more, Cindy?
Oh, I understand. Well, I have an understanding from this perspective. Just the willingness to not know what's going on, the willingness to trust in the love and the joy and the light and let the thinking mind, the conditioned mind wants to have, it continually creates a story to justify what's going on. And part of what's happening in my world right now is not believing that story, which means I don't know. It's really hazy and foggy, and I'm letting go of what I used to think I know to allow something else. And that whole experience, every time the mind tells me it's confusing, I am replacing it with I'm really curious to see what happens now. I am continually rewriting this the mind's wanting to tell me that I'm confused to I'm open and willing and curious. So anyway, John, that's my interpretation of what you said. Does it fit?
Yeah, too, another thing to remind myself on these situations is that, yeah, we may be smart. When we're curious, it's like Curious George, the smart monkey, just really wanted to know everything. We are the smartest monkeys on the planet, but really, when you look at our ability to perceive, even physically, we're so limited. We have such a limited band of awareness, visually, auditorily, kinesthetically, and just to say I don't know, like even compared to other animals, insects and stuff, we're way behind. So it's totally okay. It's totally okay, the recognition that, oh my goodness, that's my single sense impressions are so limited, or so biased, or so whatever, that to say I don't know is a really comforting place to go. It's in an acceptance mode for me. So anyway, thanks, Cindy. Thanks, yeah, thanks for sharing too. And I do think by sharing it, it opens it up. It opens the game up a little bit, especially if there's any way you can laugh at it. Then it becomes big healing. If there is a place for laughter in any of this stuff, or to find a joke in it, or to find the stupidity of it is quite a step or a stance. Correct, a stance. A stance would be a better word.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Thank you, John.
Hey, Amy, it feels like if it fits. Can I take a minute and do a pseudo sales pitch? It's not really a sales pitch, but
Sure.
can True Meditation starts on Friday here at an open door. The homework starts this Friday, and it's different than what we typically do in an open door because it's a class. And there's a workbook that was created by Regina Dawn Akers. It's wonderful. We meet once a week. I get to facilitate it. I facilitated it before, and it's based on the book True Meditation by Adyashanti. So we're offering it by donation. I've already had there's quite a number of people here that are taking it. Ron is taking it, Richard's taking it, Alice is taking it. Um, I want to say that enough people gave me more than the tip price that, don't not take it because you don't feel like you could give. Like if you want to give $5, give $5. I don't care, right? I'm giving 25% goes back to Awakening Together. I don't know, Jerry, if you already took this with me or not, but it's what the invitation is with the class is through the teachings of Adyashanti to read a little, but mostly to be pointed to taking even 10 minutes a day to do nothing and be in the just let everything is and then sort of write about it. And then on Fridays, if you can, come together. We're going to have a 2 hour meeting. It's only 3 weeks long, where there's some questions, an invitation to look at the experience and discuss it in a group. If you're not taking the class to become, oh, Livy's taking it too, to become an Awakening Together minister, then there's no real requirements other than doing the best you can with it. If you want to use it towards becoming a minister, there's a few more requirements. I've taken people through it, so I can share that with you, but I just want to make sure I state quite openly, like I love this class. I love all the MPP classes. I want to give everybody the opportunity to say yes to working with Adyashanti and Regina and me and this class. So the link for more information is there. Once Friday hits, I'm taking it down. It is a 3-week class. There's an energetic container for anyone that registers by Friday, but you can't register next Tuesday. So and nothing's recorded. So there's no, can I listen to the recorded meetings afterwards? That's not the way MPP classes go. We never record the meetings. It's in a different Zoom room. You can't just drop into the Zoom room. It's only for people that have registered. And you could give me $1 if that's all you're inspired to pay to register. So I'm going to say it today and tomorrow and Thursday, and then I'm not going to mention it in this group again. So that's what I wanted to say.
I have a question, Cindy. I can't seem to download the workbook or print it out.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Do I have to become a subscriber of Adobe or?
No, is there anything else you want to say? Let me stop the recording and then.
I thank you all for coming, and we'll see you in an hour if you
All
can
right.
join.
Beautiful.